What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, delarose.com. That's DELARROZ.com. I'm going to put a link to my Amazon page down below. I am a comic writer also, and I hope you will check things out if you like my opinions on comics, or just like me in general, or even if you don't like me and are just interested in reading comics. Maybe you'll like those if you don't like me. Who knows? All the good things. Thanks for the support, everybody who does so. We appreciate it. Now, you might think this is kind of a weird choice. You don't usually see me picking up random Marvel Knights books like this. I'm usually, more in the omnibuses or epic collections proper. But there is a reason for this. This is Marvel Knights Daredevil, which took place in the Brian Michael Bendis era. Kind of an odd thing. It collects Daredevil Ninja 1 through 3, which is a miniseries, Daredevil Spider-Man 1 through 4, Daredevil, which is the Bendis relaunch series, 20 to 25 and 51 to 55, and Spider-Man Daredevil #1. Now, the reason I read this is because I am reading Daredevil all the way through. There is a big chunk of epic collections which knock out like Fall from Grace era to like the end where they canceled Daredevil and then rebooted things. And I think it's like 5 different epic collections in a row. And then you get to the Marvel Knights omnibus by Joe Quesada, which then launches the new Daredevil series. And then after that, the Bendis series starts. Now, the problem with the Bendis omnibus is the Bendis omnibus volume 1 actually is missing the issues that I mentioned here in this book. So you need this in order to read Daredevil all the way through and not miss any issues. Kind of annoying that that's left out of the omnibus and you have to get this paperback. But I read it anyway, and I read all the side stories also. The first one, Daredevil Ninja, is a ninja story where these ninjas are coming after Daredevil. I really am not a fan of this art style, personally. So I found it a little hard to get into. Bendis wrote this. It's pretty quick, where there's not the ton of talking. But Daredevil basically gets kidnapped, brought to Japan. The Hand's doing their thing, and he has to kind of stop their plot, and he kind of does, and he kind of gets used in that regard. 3 issues. It's pretty fast. Maybe this was Bendis' trial run before actually getting on the thing. Like I said, I just can't stand this art style. It was really tough for me, but it was gone pretty quick. Story was fine. Nothing super exciting. And that's kind of like going to be the theme of this book. I mean, the stories are fine. They're just not super exciting. Here's one where Daredevil and Spider-Man team up together. It's a 4-issue series by Paul Jenkins, who was writing Spider-Man at the time. And, the art on this is... Who did the art on this one? It's pretty good. This was Paul Winslade, who I'm not super familiar with. You get this like little deal with owls after them. And this is fun. This was the best part of the whole story, was Black Widow and Foggy team up. Who is Daredevil's attorney partner, to go get some information on the bad guys real quick. They break in and find the information while Daredevil is keeping the supervillains occupied. And then when they come back, they eventually are able to use that to their advantage. And this is it. You get a weird undead situation. Of course, you got a little deal with the Fisk and all that. Now, an ongoing gag through all this is Spider-Man keeps making quips, and Daredevil keeps finding them annoying, and Spider-Man keeps complaining Daredevil is too serious, and so Daredevil actually puts a little kick-me sign on him at the end, which is kind of cute. Now, this is a backup story from one of the Daredevil deals, and it's Spider-Man and Daredevil kind of chatting about a past adventure. And then you get into the filler Bendis thing. So Bendis was on for I think 5 issues at this point, and they already put a filler arc in. I don't know if he was the one who was late, or if his artist was the one who was late, or if they just needed some catch-up time in general on that. I don't know what happened, but this is what happened here. And this is written by Kevin Hall, I guess. And it's a court drama series, and it is way, 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 way too drawn out. This is one of those major decompressed storylines that should have been done in 3 issues, but it was done in 6 issues. And you see however much this guy puts in, you see the dialogue is just way too much as they go through this here. So the crux of the story is there's this guy, and he blames Daredevil for breaking some of his property. So he wants to sue Daredevil, and he hires Matt Murdock to sue Daredevil. What a twist. And Murdoch, as Daredevil, then has to hire a different attorney in order to defend himself, and for some reason he takes the case. I mean, it's just nonsensical. I mean, they come up with reasons that are okay, I guess, but, you know, it's still nonsensical. And that it lasts for 6 issues, while Daredevil's like, I didn't do this, look at this. Oh my gosh, you see this whole page is nothing but dialogue. It's just really different. This is not Bendis. I mean, Bendis does this crap too, but man, really hard to read. Really, you know, the art's okay. It's just standard comic fair stuff. But man, this is drawn out. And it keeps getting worse for Murdoch as court of public opinion gets, you know, upset with Daredevil, and I don't know. That's how it goes. But eventually, he puts, I think, Spider-Man... Yeah, and then there's a cheesecake scene just for the sake of it. Oh my gosh, as they're on the phone. And he puts Spider-Man on the stand as Daredevil. And he then grills Spider-Man as Daredevil, and then somebody else breaks in as Daredevil and proves that he was not Daredevil, and that kind of like solves the case that Daredevil could have been anybody, and therefore they declare a mistrial, and that's the end of that. But there was really, like, the ringmaster was like hypnotizing the rich guy into doing this the entire time, and Daredevil has to stop him briefly at the end, and that's like the only part you get there. Terrible. Okay, so, I mean, it wasn't terrible. I mean, it's just like, it was just blah. It does get referenced once in the Bendis material. They talk about a court case, I think around issue 40 or something like that. Bendis does actually take the time to go back and reference that this existed. So there is a continuity point there, I guess. It is. Here's one where, I like this art. Whoever did this one, this is Spider-Man Daredevil 1, and I don't know what the deal was with this or when this was even created. Brett Matthews, the writer of Vache Mavion, is the artist. I don't know. I like it. I like the colors on this specifically. Kind of light colors. This one, Spider-Man's going out and doing some work, and basically Daredevil is like trying to catch up with him the entire time. And there's a kid who's kidnapped. You know, it's just a very simple one-off story. And it's nice. Spider-Man saves him at the end of the day. It's just cute. It's fast. Doesn't mean much. I'm glad it's in there just so I have it, I guess. You know, I'm a completist. So that's kind of cool. And then Brian Bendis' Daredevil goes for another like 30 issues. I guess that's not right. 25 issues. 20 issues? Somewhere in there. And another break gets taken by him and Malieve for 5 issues. Now, there's this character, Echo, who gets introduced in Daredevil Marvel Knights Omnibus. I think issue number 9 of Daredevil, of the relaunch, as I recall. Wow, can't believe I remember that. And Echo is this character who was like raised by Fisk. She thinks Daredevil is responsible for killing her father, but it's really Fisk who's responsible for killing her father. And she seduces Matt Murdock for a bit, and it was a really good storyline and a really cool character. And so David Mack brings her back. David Mack's the guy who does Kabuki, and he does this weird little artsy sort of way of doing things, which is really fast to read, but it is really weird and artsy. So you just got to be in the mood for this. You either like it or don't. I mean, I kind of like it. It's kind of cool and different. I like the bright colors, personally. I'm a bright colors kind of guy. But this really just goes over her past, and, you know, as she's growing up, reminiscing about, you know, how she got caught up in this whole Fisk and Murdoch thing, who her father was. You know, she's Native American. They go through that. She goes on some, like, spirit journey sort of thing. She meets up with Daredevil briefly, and that's the only real Daredevil part of this Daredevil. This really should have been an Echo miniseries, not part of the actual Daredevil series, probably. And she goes on a vision quest to kind of find herself and find her future. Meets up with Wolverine through this. I just think the art's really cool. It's a lot. It's very impressionistic. You kind of just gotta like flow with what happens, and eventually she kind of finds herself. It's a very internal story. Maybe a little long for what it is, but I mean it's pretty and it's cool and it's different. So I accept that for that. Overall, this is pretty mediocre reading. You know, the Echo thing was neat, but maybe unnecessary compared to the first volume of that. You know, the rest of it, like, you could have skipped it and probably been fine. Maybe that's why they weren't included in the omnibus to begin with. But as a completionist, I had to read this, and that means what's coming up pretty soon is going to be the Brian Michael Bendis Daredevil Omnibus in reviews, so please stay tuned for that. And I'm pretty excited because, you go through those, and then you go through Brubaker's run, read Shadowland, and then Mark Waid's run, and actually Charles Soule's run right after that is coming out towards the end of the year if you're watching this in 2021. And that then gets us up to the current times. So pretty excited to be able to read Daredevil all the way straight through like this. There's a few epic collections left back in the kind of Bronze Age of comics or whatever you want to call it in order to read. And this is one of those titles, Daredevil, that you can read most of it in collected edition, which is unusual for most books. So pretty cool. Hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.